Okay, I think let's start. People can continue to join. So there are enough people that we should not be wasting the time for other people. Thank you very much for joining this webinar titled How to Build a Good Power BI Data Portfolio. So this webinar is scheduled from 9 o'clock Pakistan time to 10 o'clock. The webinar was listed to be delivered in English, but I see there are a lot of people who are from Pakistan, India, this area. So I'll continue to talk in English, but you guys would have the opportunity to ask the questions in local language. So don't worry about not being able to talk in the local language. So let me just give a brief introduction to myself. Uh, these people they keep coming. Okay, so my name is Abu Bakr Alvi. I am a Power BI developer and consultant. Also, I've been working in Fabric for the last 2.5 years. So I have total around 26, 27 years of experience since I graduated as a computer engineer from NUST in 1999. So I've been in the industry for 26, 27 years. I've worked for 16 plus years as an embedded system engineer and a project manager in an earlier role, and for the almost last 10 11 10 years I'm mainly working as a data consultant and working as a Power BI developer and a consultant for the last 8+ years. So that's a quick introduction of mine. So I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, so I conduct these trainings, and this webinar is part of a series of webinars that I do after every few weeks or months, because there are a lot of people who actually ask for these webinars. So I randomly pick a topic which I feel is pertinent. So why I picked this topic, I had an experience of hiring a junior Power BI developer 2 months back, and I hadn't actually hired someone for a full-time position because I was mainly working with consultants previously. So that was a new experience for me, and to my surprise, and you can say slightly as a shock, around 300 people applied for that position, and probably I got more LinkedIn connections in 24 hours than I had ever got. So I thought that, okay, this is interesting, because a lot of people, they want to actually become a Power BI developer, which is good. Like it wasn't the case once I started, like in 2018-19. That wasn't the case. Very few people knew about the tool, but now it has become a very well-known tool, and a lot of people are actually they want to work in Power BI, and they want to pursue a career as a Power BI developer. So that was a good news. But then once I started looking at the CVs and the resumes that I got, it was probably also not a very good experience, because I saw very people applying to this role in a very casual kind of manner, and people, they really didn't understand what it means to actually be a Power BI developer. So the first thing that I asked people was that, do you have a Power BI or a public facing data portfolio? And most of the people, they said, no, we do not have. Some people said that we are working and we do not have, we can't share our proprietary data. But I said, still you need to have some kind of a public facing portfolio, because I really can't interview 300 people. So I have to actually look at something that you have developed over a period of time, and something that you have showcased on your portfolio. So that was the starting point of which actually triggered this conversation with a few people on LinkedIn. And then I thought, okay, maybe there is a disconnect that what people think is a good Power BI portfolio. So I actually, decided that, okay, let's give it a shot, and let's have the next webinar, on this topic. So before I actually, start the webinar formally, I don't really, claim myself to be a Power BI expert. I still feel that I'm learning. I've been working in this area for good about 8 years, but I still feel that I still, think of myself as a student. So don't take me as some kind of, as a top elite class Power BI developer, or a lot of people, even who have like worked for 1 or 2 years, they think of themselves as Power BI expert, but I'm certainly not. I would just share knowledge based on whatever I have experienced, A, as a developer, and B, as a teacher, or you can say as a trainer. That's the two main areas. And obviously, once you are in this role, you look at a lot of stuff, you engage with a lot of people. So I'm just going to share my experience. I'll probably talk for about 35-40 minutes. That's what I have in my mind. And then I'll open the I'll open the session for questions. So if you do have any questions, you can either hold back towards the last 20 minutes, or you can just put your questions in the chat, and once I'm done with my part, I'll try to answer the question. So let's formally start. I also have one very important person on this call. I'm not going to ask her to introduce herself. She would probably be talking towards the end. So her name is Misha Reyes. She is one of my colleagues, and she has been working with me for the last good about 2 years. Firstly, as a trainer, as a co-trainer on my courses, and then as a full-time Power BI developer for the last almost 1 year. So she would be actually maybe you can ask questions. She would be more than happy to answer. But why I have brought her, because she's a person whom I have followed very closely for the last 2 years, and her portfolio I would be taking as a reference, that okay, what are the good things that are there in her portfolio, and probably what extra things need to be done on top of whatever is there, so that because of this being a very competitive market, like I said, like 300 people applying for a junior Power BI developer role, that why it is important to have a good portfolio, and why you cannot just focus on one area, and you have to have a good 360-degree coverage of all the areas that Power BI addresses. So let's quickly start with this this slide. So this slide is, as I've been always, this is a slide that I always show in one form or the other in all my webinars or all my Power BI courses, which is related to the Power BI development process. So essentially, once you work in Power BI, and obviously most of you people who are here, they would be working in one form or the other. There are essentially four different four different processes as part of the Power BI development. The first one is the loading and transformation of data, which we essentially do inside of Power Query. And the end goal of that is to actually create a data model, a semantic model, or a star schema data model, whatever the name is. So 1 and 2 is essentially whatever you do inside of Power Query, right? And then the third part is where you write the DAX, you make all your calculations in DAX, and the fourth part is reporting and visualization, where you actually create your visuals and create your report, navigation, and everything. So these are the four main you can say Power BI development processes. But I actually add 2 processes on top of these processes, because they essentially drive what you are actually doing in these 4 processes. So I say that there is a step 0, which is a requirement gathering process. And this is a very important process. I have seen this in real world projects as well, that if you try to skip this requirement gathering process, you spend probably 5 times more time doing step 1 to step 4. If you try to skip, or you want to just do a very, very basic requirement gathering process. So the requirement gathering is essentially not something that you do in Power BI. You do it outside of Power BI, and you can say that it is more related to how you actually ask the questions, how you actually formulate your business problem, how you actually talk to your stakeholder who is going to actually be using this this solution. So this is a very important step, and I'll talk further about it as we go, and tell you how you actually need to actually do this part as part of your portfolio. And then the last part, which is step number 5, is essentially the end goal of all of this activity. So the end goal for this activity is that you are not doing this as just an activity. You are actually developing all of these, you're actually doing all of these processes to build something that can actually drive actions, that can actually lead to some insights, and basically expose the findings that you have done from the data. So essentially, you are trying to solve a problem. If I do these 4 steps in Power BI, spend hours or weeks, and doing all of that, build a very beautiful UI and UX, and still I'm not able to deliver anything, if I'm not able to solve the problem, all of this is just wastage of time. Essentially, for me as a Power BI developer, I see it as just a wastage of time, because you are just trying to probably create a beautiful UI or UX which looks good for 10 minutes and then it is gone. Nobody actually looks at what colors or what themes or what uh, beautification you have done, unless they are able to use it on a daily basis and are able to take action. So this is essentially the complete Power BI development process that you need to understand. And if you want to build a Power BI portfolio, all these six steps, they need to be showcased in one form or the other, right? So if you are just focusing on probably just the UI and UX, then probably you're doing something which is just to please probably a few select people on LinkedIn who are going to say, okay, very, very nicely built and everything, and that's it. It's just good to get a few likes and that's it. But if you do all these steps and you do it over multiple projects, then people who are actually hiring you, or people who are actually hiring someone to actually work with as a Power BI developer, they would actually appreciate that, okay, this is a guy or this is a lady that we need to hire because this person is going to bring actual value. So this is probably the step that I wanted to highlight before I actually went into the details about why a good Power BI portfolio matters. Like I said, they are the first question that I asked people who actually applied, and in fact, I remember putting this condition that do not apply if you do not have a public facing Power BI portfolio. And to my surprise, I found almost 50% of the people who actually applied to this position, they just sent me a CV and that's it, a CV or resume and nothing else. Or else they said, okay, our LinkedIn is our portfolio, right? So I just want to highlight that before I actually talk what is a good portfolio, I just want to quickly talk that why you need a good portfolio. So essentially, if somebody wants to hire you as a Power BI developer, they would like to see that, okay, what are the practical skills and expertise that you're going to bring to the team. So a portfolio gives a very good a very good demonstration of your practical skills and expertise. You would within for 5 minutes, the person would know that, okay, this guy is good at probably the UI UX part. This guy person is good in DAX. He has done excellent ETL. His data modeling skills are exceptional, or otherwise. So this is a very important thing to understand, that it is the only way you can actually demonstrate your practical skills and expertise even before having a conversation with whosoever is going to hire you. Then, as part of your learning process, once you build a good portfolio, it also gives you the opportunity to acquire domain knowledge. Like, your portfolio should not be just focused on sales data set or AdventureWorks cycle sales. These are the very commonly known data sets. There is one which is like the Northwind data set. You have to actually build a portfolio that actually shows that this guy can work in retail, this guy can work in the health sector, this guy can work in pharma sector, this guy can work in logistics, this guy can this guy has the potential to work in financial sector. So you have to actually use this platform to actually acquire domain knowledge and then to actually showcase that knowledge. So this is another very important thing. Then obviously, if you have picked a good project, if you have, and I'm going to tell you how we do that, then you have this ability, or you have this this platform to actually show evidence that you are capable to solve real world business problems. Nobody is going to hire you to build dashboards based on how is Virat Kohli doing in cricket. It's not probably nobody's going to ask you to do that. But if you actually showcase something which is related to your passion, they would know, okay, this guy actually has this ability to actually look into areas or explore areas which are close to his or her passion also. So I'm going to talk about this in a bit of more detail in a bit. So essentially, all the points that I've listed here are very important for you to actually make an impression even before you actually somebody picks up the phone, or somebody writes an email to you, and okay, this is you have applied for this position and we would like to interview you, because this is essentially more important than your resume. And if I talk about this last step here, and this is a question that I've been asked multiple times, because I have a YouTube channel where I post where I post YouTube videos, and I have a full course of PL300. A lot of people, they're interested in doing this PL300, which is good. If you want to have a certification, but please remember that the portfolio project or a portfolio, good data portfolio, is much more important than a certification. You can probably, there are multiple ways of actually passing a certification without having a portfolio. You are just a PL300 certified data analyst who doesn't know anything about Power BI. That you would be exposed in 5 minutes unless you have done practical work in Power BI, and that is all only done and showcased through a good portfolio. I know a lot of people who do not have any PL300 experience or any of these certifications, but they are very, very good Power BI developers, and they don't really need to actually do this certification unless there is a role which actually asks them that, okay, we need somebody who is Power BI, who is PL300 certified. So this is just setting the context that why you need a good Power BI portfolio. Now, from the why, I would come that, okay, now what actually makes a good Power BI portfolio? So essentially, these are the same steps that I highlighted in the slide earlier. These are the 6 or 7 steps, starting from requirement gathering, working in Power Query, doing the ETL, doing the data modeling, showing your DAX expertise, building a visual design or a story using the visualization. Then how you actually structure the architecture of your report, how you do the navigation, how you actually tell that story in a very friendly way. That is also very important. And then obviously at the end of the day, you are actually solving a problem. So that is what I say, that, okay, whatever you build, it should solve a problem. It should give some insights. It should actually drive some actions, or it should actually highlight some findings. So these are essentially the things that actually make a good Power BI portfolio. So now the main crux is that how to actually do that. So I'll be telling 4 or 5 steps, practical steps, and I'll be showcasing. I'll start from Misha's portfolio, and then I'll talk about some of the work that I have actually followed. And there could be so many. I'm not saying that these are the only things. There are so many people who have actually worked in this area and who have been working in Power BI for a very, very long time. So this is essentially the crux of what the whole session is going to be today. So the most important step is that you have to choose your projects wisely. Like I said, that do not waste your time in AdventureWorks, Northwind, or there is a very famous Tableau dataset which is related to some sales data. Please do not waste. Even I would say, do not go near the Kaggle datasets. Instead, explore websites and explore portals where you have data from meaningful examples, real world problems. So I've listed a few here where you can just go and you can pick a data set and you can start building your report. So this is exactly a lot of people actually do. This is exactly what a lot of people who have actually excelled as Power BI developers, that they actually do, that they pick the right business problem, which actually lays the platform where you can actually build your domain knowledge and actually present it in front of people. So like, you can work to pick some problem in the consumer market, labor market, financial conditions, banking, environment, logistics, all of these areas. Then some people would say, oh, yeah, there are a lot of data sets which are available, but again, somebody should guide us, or we don't find the motivation to actually spend time and actually look for that data set. If you really can't do that, then another easier way of doing it is that you participate in the data challenges. There are multiple data challenges that happen every month. At least 3 of these are very well known, which I have listed here, which is Maven Analytics, Onyx Data, and FP20 Analytics. So these have been going on for months and years. Like FP20 is there for, I think, more than 2.5, 3 years. Onyx is even before that, and Maven is even before that. So if you can't really spend time selecting a data set of your own, then these are the platforms where people actually select a data set. They select the business questions for you. A lot of other people are also doing it. So you also do not feel that, okay, I am the only one who is working. So there are forums, there are platforms where people actually post these problems. Just go there, participate in those forums, learn from what other people have done, and then showcase your abilities and capabilities on a forum where those also get noticed. So essentially, this is the route that Misha took. So Misha is a multiple time winner of these challenges. So it's, participating and getting into the top 5 or top 10 is one thing. Winning it is a different level. So she has been actually winning. She has actually won, I think, 2 or 3. I'm not sure about the numbers, but she has finished like multiple times in the top 5, where her report has been showcased as one of the top 5, or some of the best ones. So that is a way to actually choose a project and then build a portfolio on top of that. So if you participate in, let's say, 3 or 4 challenges, and you say, okay, maybe one of them I didn't really like the work that I did. No worries, you still have the other 3. So if you spend a good about 3-4 months, build a good be a part of a good community, participate in the challenges, you already have a very, very strong foundation. So this is probably the first and the most important step. Then